Hello friends, doesn't believe in ghosts but still too terrified to turn off the lights and say Bloody Mary 3 times in front of the mirror here, bringing you another Dota 2 video on behalf of Dota Alchemy, in which we're going to be taking a look at EG Fly playing Viper Position 5. I kid you not, Viper Position 5, and not only did he play Viper Position 5, he played it in a tournament for $500,000, he won versus Team Liquid, and he did the second most hero damage in the game, and the only hero that did more hero damage than him is a 29-4 Tiny. So this hero played in a Position 5 role is genuinely good, so if you want to get some free MMR because people don't know what the hell is happening, then this is the hero for you, and we're going to take a look at exactly what he did to do so much damage in this game. In this game, Fly auto-skills his poison attack as soon as the game starts, which is a relatively uncommon thing. You won't see professional players do this very often, because you never know what situation might arise where you'll need another ability. But as a Pos 5 Viper, there's really nothing else that you're going to go, because you need the Q ability to trade in the laning phase. So it looks like EG wants to play towards this left bounty here simply because there's a Treant Protector and he's going to be a lot stronger on the bounty that's by the outpost, and they look to trade as much as they can before the game starts, which does end up resulting in Arteezy dying unfortunately, but because of this it gives Fly a pretty good start since he gets the solo kill on the Treant Protector, getting him some pretty nice experience as well as allowing Arteezy to bring a little bit of regen back to the lane for Fly, namely 2 more mangoes. As the lane starts, Fly positions towards the left side of the lane. There are a few reasons for this. Number one, the pull is on the left side, so he's going to be able to go over here and stack and pull if he wants to, and he doesn't have to walk through the creep wave in order to do it. There's also this passageway that they've cut here for Fly to run away. If the Treant does appear on this side, he's going to be perfectly safe because they have already taken this tree out so he can run to safety fairly quickly. With that being said, the tree is playing on the right side of the lane, which means that Fly can trade with the core in the lane as opposed to trading with the support. And this is going to be much better as a Position 5 because this is going to stop the core from farming. And this is also going to stop the core from contesting Arteezy. And since this Treant Protector is playing to the right side of the lane, if Arteezy also plays to the left side of the lane in the tower and Fly is zoning Dazzle, then this first creep wave is going to be completely free. One of the nice things about playing Viper as a Position 5 is that this poison attack ability is an orb, which means if you don't turn it on autocast and just right click your opponents, it's not going to draw creep aggro when you hit people, so this results in Liquid getting very low, which allows Arteezy to get on top of the tree and do a tossback combo, which normally wouldn't kill a hero at this point, but because of the harass coming from Fly in the early game, getting those poison attack stacks up on them, it's a pretty easy kill. The way that Fly plays around this poison attack ability is completely different from how people used to play around the old poison attack. He treats it similar to how people play around Batrider's sticky napalm, where if you get a few napalms on somebody in the lane, you can commit on them and even dive the tower because if they have so many stacks on them, they're going to be slowed and they're going to take so much damage that even if you dive a tower, you're going to kill them before the tower kills you. Watch this situation where there's this huge creep wave that Mickey is pushing in, and yet Fly just runs straight through it and goes for the kill because he has 5 stacks of poison attack on the Dazzle. So he basically just understands that this ability, it slows for a lot and it does a lot of damage if you have those stacks, and this results in getting a kill. After getting the kill, Fly heads over to the easy camp to do a single pull. There are 3 main reasons, in my opinion, why a single pull in the current game state is incredibly efficient. Reason number 1, this is a free lane right now. Arteezy is totally uncontested, Dazzle is dead, even if he were alive, he will need to walk to the lane. So instead of sitting and soaking and being useless, Fly heads over here where he can farm this neutral camp and get some extra experience and gold out of basically nowhere. On top of that, they are laning against a Treant Protector plus a Dazzle. These 2 heroes are deadly, but they have low armor and they don't have a great way of clearing the creeps early. So if you play this lane with a creep advantage by doing a single pull, then you can pressure them instead of having them pressure you. And then the third reason that they want to do a single pull right now is simply because Fly needs resources. He's waiting for his courier, and in the current patch, if you don't walk back and get your courier, well, it's usually going to die, especially if there's a treant protector in your lane. So he's waiting for the courier to get some resources. So he heads over here, does the pull, and unfortunately, because he's laning against a very high kill threat lane, Arteezy ends up dying. But it's not the biggest deal because he does get the experience of the creeps that died under the tower. It would be a travesty if nobody got that. That would be a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal. In terms of early game itemization, Fly goes for an early Ring of Basilius, which is of course going to benefit Arteezy on Tiny. He's going to be able to spam his spells. This is going to allow Fly to also spam out his poison attack. On top of this, he sends out as many mangoes as he needs in order to sustain his full mana pool. But in this next clip, I want to take a look at this ridiculous situation that having a Viper on your team forces in any lane. I think that this is basically going to happen in any game where you aren't just completely stomping the lane. So, Viper, Fly, trying to use his Basilius mana and harass the opponents as much as he can, putting his Q on both heroes. He's kind of rotating it, keeping stacks on both heroes, and instead of running away when these heroes commit onto him, he just says, okay, take me, whatever. I'm a position 5. You have 5 stacks on you. You have 2 stacks on you, plus the corrosive skin slow. This is going to get Arteezy a completely free lane to get both of these kills and a completely free game. So once again, going back to the Batrider example, this is very similar to how Batriders play when they have 4 or 5 stacks of sticky napalm on somebody. They just dive towers, and they just keep diving, and if they die first, they die first. If they don't die first, sure, whatever is fine, but you commit. That's the thing, is if you're playing this hero, you need to make sure that you commit. He even walks back in the lane and does it again. It's completely ridiculous. And keep in mind, this is a Treant Protector plus a Dazzle lane. These are not bad heroes for trading. These are 2 of the best trading heroes in the game, but because of how this stacks and because of how this scales, it just does too much damage. And during this entire time, Arteezy is getting all of this solo experience and solo kills because he's essentially sacrificing his life. This is like a support bat, except harder to kill and it does more damage. So there hits a point in almost every game of Dota 2 where the carry bird flies the nest. They no longer want to be in the lane. They want to go jungle because they can jungle faster than they can get golden experience in the lane, or they want to fight. In this particular game, Arteezy wanted to run at the top lane. He wanted to fight. Fly is keeping an eye on it, as a good mother bird should, but it doesn't look too bad. So instead of being a low-level support, running around, being useless, having low net worth, he says, okay guys, I'm taking some me time. I'm going to get some farm. I'm going to get some experience. And I'm also going to be that annoying hero playing down here in the bot lane, pushing this lane in so somebody on the enemy team has to respond to it. Now, if this was a harder game, if they did not have a 5k gold lead at this point, I imagine that Fly would probably fight when he gets the Viper Strike, aka when he gets level 6. However, his team is able to fight without him, so instead of waiting for that power spike, he waits a little bit longer, and he goes for an Urn of Shadows, plus level 4 in the poison attack power spike, and that's what he fights around. And this makes a lot of sense. This is the new ability, the broken ability that everybody is playing around, so if you're going to be greedy in a game, you may as well fight around having that maxed out. So you can see that he does look to TP towards the top lane when there's a big fight happening. He's 1 skill point away from level 7. And now what he does is completely polar opposite to just sitting in a lane and farming. He does move his camera down there, and I think that's just because he knows that the moment he moves out of this lane, they're essentially transitioning the game from the, okay, we're farming and getting items point of the game to we are going to start progressing the game forward and getting objectives. And you can see that where he wards shows this. See, he wards up the hill. This ward is to get this kill here. With the silence, they're able to get all of the Viper abilities off, and Viper just does way too much damage. They get the kill on Boxy. And with this kill, Fly heads over and he wards this eye spot here. But he also drops a sentry ward here scouting this just to see if he doesn't want to get scouted placing this ward. He wants this ward to be long lasting. So now EG is able to control this area. They can cut this creep wave here. They can push this tier 2 here. This tier 2 is easier to take as well, and this allows them to play in the enemy jungle. And considering they're losing this bot tower, well, they're not really going to be able to play in their own jungle for very much longer. So securing this area is going to be quite effective after getting that kill. This might legitimately be the most brain-dead hero to play in team fights. Watch how Fly plays fights. He presses his ulti. I guess that's one of the more complicated things on this hero, is figuring out who you're going to press the ulti on. He throws the Nether Toxin down on as many heroes as possible and just sits there and spams his poison attack on people. Watch what happens when he gets spells cast on him too. He just accepts death. He did this in the lane, and he does it in every single fight. He just sits there and literally trades until he dies, which honestly on a position 5, this makes a lot of sense. This hero's hard to kill because he has this passive. He has a bunch of HP, and he's already used all of his spells. If somebody's going to die, you'd rather it be a position 5 who's really difficult to kill, and in killing the position 5, you're going to take a ton of damage yourself. After an exceptional early game, the rest of the game is just a complete stomp, favoring towards EG. I do want to briefly mention at the end here, though, Fly's item build on this hero. He goes for Brown Boots into Stick, into Urn, into Spirit Vessel, of course, completing the full Magic Wand. Power Treads, he does go for the Power Treads before he finishes the full Spirit Vessel, just because the attack speed is very nice. The tread swapping is very nice because this hero is quite mana intensive, and also the Strength Treads are great because you also just sit in a fight and essentially trade until you die. He accepts all of the garbage items from his teammates, so he took a Grove Bow, he took a Clumsy Net, which is actually quite good on Viper because this hero doesn't really have any great disable. After that, he builds into a Force Staff, which he was going to build that into an eventual Hurricane Pike because, of course, that's going to allow him to cast more poison attacks, especially with the 2 Grove Bows that he has. In any case, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video.